When David Jen asked me to officiate their wedding, I said, yes, really loud. I wish there was some way you could all feel what I felt that night. To say it is an honor is not enough. Because to say it's not about me. It is about these two wonderful people and about being part of something big. We are all threads beautiful in our own separate way. But our real power and fulfillment comes when we are woven together into a rich fabric. By asking me to do this, and by asking all of you to be here, we have become a fabulous tapestry. And a little bit more. We are gathered here today here in the presence of family and friends for the purpose of uniting Dave and Jen in marriage, and to share in the joy of this memorable occasion. We are also here to witness and to celebrate the promises these two individuals are making to each other. These include the usual wedding promises to love each other, to work together, to build and share a life with each other, and to be loyal and faithful and kind and respectful. But because of who they are, their approach to these commitments is structured somewhat unusually. When you don't meet your life partner until a later stage of the game, marriage takes on a different meaning than it might have 15 years earlier. In some ways, there is so much more to give up. These are two fully formed and functional individuals, each living a life of achievement and activity. They have diverse groups of friends and family members, friends and colleagues carefully nurtured over the long years. They have careers and homes. They have interests that may not be interesting to someone else. They have good habits and bad ones, some of which could be deal breakers for a number. So yes, there are compromises to be made, but at the same time, there is so much more that they are each bringing to the table than the rest of the people. They know their strengths and their weaknesses. They know their good habits and their bad ones. And they know what the real deal breakers are. They have few misconceptions about what love, marriage, romance, and commitment really mean. They know how to be partners to each other. And so here in this place of transformation, we are about to take part in another type of transformation. The threads of two separate lives being woven into a single integrated one. One way of living becoming another, and two families being linked together. You know, this is not a secular life. Clearly, you were not frivolously looking to wed the first person who came along. You know what you were getting into. The purpose of this ceremony is for you to share your vision of marriage with all of these people. To publicly declare the commitments you have already made to one another. To reflect on your individual journeys and to formalize and recognize the transformation you are about to make. Jen and Dave have asked two of their siblings to read selections about marriage and love that resonate with them.
A reading from Letters to a Young Poet by Reina Maria Rojas. Marriage is in many ways a simplification of life, and it naturally combines the strengths and wills of two young people, so that together they seem to reach farther into the future than they did before. Above all, marriage is a new task and a new seriousness, a new demand on the strength and generosity of each partner, and a great new danger for both. The point of marriage is not to create a quick commonality by tearing down all boundaries. On the contrary, a good marriage is one in which each partner appoints the other to be the guardian of his solitude, and thus they show each other the greatest possible trust. A merging of two people is an impossibility, and where it seems to exist, it is a hemming in, a mutual consent that robs one party or both parties of their fullest freedom and development. But once the realization is accepted that even between the closest people, infinite distances exist, a marvelous side-by-side living can grow up for them. If they succeed in loving the expanse between them, which gives them the possibility of always seeing each other as a whole and before an immense sky.
They looked at each other for a moment. The moment became a longer moment, and suddenly it was a very long moment. So long, one could hardly tell where all the time was coming from. He felt like a cramped and newborn animal who awakes one morning to find the door to his cage hanging quietly open, and the savannah stretched with gray and pink to the distant rising sun, while all around new sounds awakened. He wondered what the new sounds were as he gazed at her open and wondering face and her eyes that smiled with a shared surprise. He hadn't realized that life speaks to you with a voice that brings you answers to the questions you continually ask of it. He had never consciously detected it or recognized its tone until now, when it said something it had never said to him before, which was, yes.
Anyone who knows Dave or his family knows the importance that baseball plays in their lives. And anyone who knows Jen knows that dance and theater have been equally vital in her life. I'd like to share a few useful and relevant insights from these passions of theirs. Baseball exemplifies a tension in the American mind, the pull between our strong individualism and our yearning for community. It's a team game played by individuals. Though each player is part of a team, each of them has to take their turn at bat, one at a time, and alone. The players have to act as individuals, but for the good of the team. This is a lot like marriage. Ultimately, the couple is the team. But in each and every moment, the individuals face choices and decisions about how to act, what to pay attention to, and how to respond to internal feelings and outside constraints. And they have to consistently and consciously make good on those choices or not even worse. This is not to emphasize the chore-like aspects of marriage. Marriage is work, of course, but work that is to be done in the spirit of giving to one's partner in order to be part of something bigger than oneself. This sort of work, done with passion and purpose and in the spirit of generosity, leads to a true, deep, and richly satisfying form of happiness. Jen's background in dance and theater taught her not only about dedication and commitment, but also the valuable lesson of impermanence. Kurt Sachs explained that, quote, "Dance is the mother of the arts. Music and poetry exist in time, painting and architecture in space. But dance lives at once in time and space." And when it's over, it's gone. This impermanence is what gives dance and live theater its power and radiance. It exists in that moment only and requires our full focus on the present. This is true in the dance performance as well as in a relationship. By being fully present, we are more deeply connected to each other and better able to express what stirs in our hearts. Because dance, like life, is so dynamic, it tells us about the importance of accepting change. Whether we experience change as a kind of freedom or a source of terrible anxiety makes a significant difference. Do the days of our lives add up to further suffering or to increased capacity for joy? Accepting that nothing in life is static invites us to ride the waves of change with hope and delight rather than panic. Staying open. Marriage is part of this great adventure where discovery of oneself, each other, and the world is available. Continuing to grow and evolve into something more beautiful and kind both individually and together. Marriage is not a ritual or an end. It is a long, intricate, intimate dance together. And nothing matters more than your own sense of balance and your choice of partner. With those ideas in place, we should move on to rainfall. We have now come to the point of the ceremony where you will say your vows to one another. But before you do that, I ask you to remember that love, and in faith, trust, and acceptance will be the foundation of an abiding and deepening relationship. No other ties are more tender, no other vows more sacred than those you have. If you are able to keep the vows you take here today, not because of any religious or civic law, but out of a desire to love and be loved by another person fully, without limitation, then your life will have joy, and the home you establish will be a place in which you both will find the direction of your growth, your freedom, and your responsibility.
Jen, I've searched my entire life to find someone that made me more me than me. And finally, accidentally, I found you. You challenge me, you nurture me, and you accept me. Without ever pushing me, you make me want to be better. Without asking for a thing, you make me more generous. Without requiring anything, you make me want to give you everything. In front of so many of our family members and friends, I promise to strive every day to be worthy of your love, friendship, and respect. I promise to care for you, to love and honor you, to help when you need it, to play when we can, work when we must, to shine the spotlight on you when you want it, to give you room and time to be still when you need that instead. I will keep myself open to you, taking care not to withdraw into my work and myself. I will let you help me, support me, and love me. And I will let our shared life flow into my core. I promise to walk with you all the days of our lives, on paths unseen and unknown to us now, on the most beautiful, inspiring trails, on the hardest, darkest, and most terrifying roads. I'll be beside you all the way, from this day forward, good times and bad, whether we're sick or well, rich or poor, and yourself.
I am honestly quite shocked that I actually found someone that I love and respect so thoroughly. You're a fantastic friend. You invite me to play and laugh when I'm approaching life with too much intensity. You encourage and support me when I'm feeling overwhelmed. I promise to be a loyal and faithful partner. I will listen with an open mind and offer compassion when we don't see eye to eye. I promise to appreciate and respect your perspective. I will compromise, collaborate, and contribute. I will tend to my faults and be patient with yours. I will keep our relationship in home full of laughter. I will stay receptive and soft in response to challenges. I will forgive easily and quickly and strive to seek forgiveness. I look forward to walking together and will strive to understand who you need to be loved and loved in your community.
you take this person, Jen, to be your lawful wedded spouse?
I do.
Jen, do you take this person, Dave, to be your lawful wedded spouse? I do. Add the rings, please. Pretty good. Jen, I have searched my entire life. What?
We actually didn't practice this part. Jen, please take this ring. This ring. That's my pledge to help you. To develop your heart and mind. Cultivating compassion, generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiasm, and wisdom. As we age and undergo ups and downs in life. I promise to do whatever is in my power. To walk her path in the ways of love. Peace, joy, and contentment. Because you are my best friend and my partner in all things. And with you, I am complete.
Dave, please take this ring as a pledge to help you to develop the heart and mind. Cultivating compassion, generosity, ethics, patience, and enthusiasm. And wisdom as we age and undergo the ups and downs of life. I promise to do whatever is in my power to walk our path in the way of love, peace, joy, and contentment. Because you are my best friend and my partner in all things. With you, I am God.
Renee?
I ask you to turn to the teaching side and hold hands. These are the hands of your best friend, full of love for you, that you are holding yours on a rainy day, as you promise to love each other today and tomorrow and forever. The hands that will work alongside yours, as together you build your future. The hands that will passionately love you and cherish you through years and comfort you like no other. The hands that will hold you in fear of grief your mind. The hands that will help you hold your family as one. The hands that will give you strength to renew it. And these are the hands that even when aged will still be reaching for yours, giving you the same unspoken tenderness with just a touch. Will you honor and respect one another and seek to have the great honor?
We will.
Will you share each other's pain and seek to ease it?
We will.
Will you share the burdens of each other so that your spirits may grow in union?
We will.
Will you share each other's laughter and look for the good of each other? Jen and Dave, as your hands are bound together now, so your lives and spirits are joined in union and trust.
Someone asked me the other day, how can you be so positive? With so many problems, political and social, how can you be optimistic? It is difficult at times, to be sure. But we are capable of wondrous things. From landing a car on Mars, to publicly declaring love for one another, we do great stuff. When we focus on our greatness, how can we be anything but optimistic? Now, by virtue of the authority vested in me as Deputy Commissioner of Civil Marriages for the County of Alameda, but more importantly, because we guys asked me to, I now pronounce you married under the laws of the state of California. Please seal the deal with your first married kiss.
Would y'all like to say something to Jennifer and Dave?
Hi, Jennifer and Dave. Best wishes. We love you guys. We're happy. We're happy you're married. We tried to talk you out of it, but you were too stubborn.
Welcome to the dark side.
That's right. That's right. There's no turning back.
Finally, it was my time.
Never thought I'd see the day.
That's beautiful.
We love you. And can't wait to go travel.
On your expense, Jennifer and Dave.
It's going to get expensive, but you know, we have a budget for it. That's the priority that we're going to make. We'll leave the kids at home. That's how it's going to be. So we're so excited to be here. We love you. Yay! Have fun. Jennifer and Dave, we just want to congratulate you tonight. We just want to
I will toast this great couple a little bit later, but today let me act as a bit of a wedding MC, as it were, reprising my role in so merited act murder. Thank you very much. Remain seated. Thank you very much. Case of life imitating art, or what passed for art at the time. Anyway, first it is my pleasure right now to introduce my toaster, starting at the best man. We're talking about Dave's brother, my younger nephew, CSI genius. I give you the E-Train. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Halsey.
Thank you, Uncle Cool. How could you forget that one? That's about our children, Renee's and my children know him as Uncle Cool. Well, we're here at Dave's event. This is for you, Dave. I know, right? Being here is kind of like, kind of like when the Giants won the World Series, isn't it? You waited for so long for something to happen. And you dream about it, and there's all these great moments along the way, but it ends in heartbreak. And then it happens, and you're like, what? So, I don't know, it's just kind of hard to believe for me and for a lot of the people in this room. So I'm glad that we're all kind of kindred together to enjoy this moment. And in thinking about Dave in preparation for this day, obviously I had plenty of time, right? Just under 3 decades. I got to thinking about a lot of stuff. Oddly enough, the first thing that I thought of was my own hair. And about a month ago, I'm going to get to where it makes sense at some point. About a month ago, I was giving myself a haircut, which I've done for like the past 20 years or so. And my family members right now are probably saying, that explains a lot. Thanks, love. Obviously, these things. I noticed a profound increase in the amount of gray in my hair as I was cutting it, and I instinctively did what I usually do when I notice things about myself I don't particularly like, and I think of Dave. And I said, well, it's not like that. I said to myself, how do you think Dave in his hair? And then I said, all right, I think I remember seeing some amount, although his hair is lighter than mine, so it's harder to see, but I've seen it. So I remembered that, and I felt comforted by that. And it occurred to me that I've been doing this kind of self-comforting comparison to Dave for years, decades. And the way it works is like this. I see something in myself that I don't particularly like, either inside or outside. And I ask myself, well, does Dave also have this thing? And if he does, then I feel like I'm going to be okay. Because, and not because misery loves company, but because I think so highly of Dave that if he has that thing, he's pretty cool, and he's made it this far, then I'm going to be okay. And I know that's kind of a roundabout way of complimenting someone. I realize that. But you know, I'll say, fine, we're getting old, right? We have a break. He's still getting chicks, right? I mean, that's why we're here, because he found a girl that's so great, he made a good decision, and said, I'm not going to do any better, so I'm going to marry her. And that's what we did, and that's why we're here. So even though we're adults now, and I have my own family, my own career, and I'm as happy as I could ever possibly imagine being, I still use Dave as a barometer for judging my own life. And I know that he doesn't like my this because he doesn't like the pressure of being the family's measuring stick. But it's his fault, isn't it? I mean, look at it. He's literally the strongest person I know, and that I've ever met. While he's preparing for open heart surgery, is the family's rock during a really difficult time for us. Who else does it? Who else, while he's 9 years old, helps raise his sister and his brother while his mother's going through a divorce? These are the things that Dave does. He's amazing. And it's his fault that I'm using him this way. And so, like everything else in the speech, it's a compliment. You just have to take it right. Really, having Dave in your life is like having a therapist, a lawyer, a project manager, and a best friend all in one person. And really, seeing Jen, it's so great to know now that there's going to be someone who cares for Dave the way he cares for us. And I know that's how Jen feels about him. So that's why this is such a great occasion. And that brings me to page 2, which is about Jen. Now, Dave must truly possess the Kavorka to have landed Jen. And if you don't know what that is, it's a Kramer reference from Seinfeld, and he says, I just have this power over women, and Dave has it. And I need to distinguish between the kind of Kavorka that we saw at the bachelor party, where a woman that could really only barely be described as a cougar just basically latched on to Dave within the first 3 seconds of being in this bar. And Dave was very, you guys remember, Dave was very nice and kind and said, whoa, no. But she, like a magnet, like a fly to a light in the middle of it. It was amazing. I've watched this my whole life. I got a goose egg. He got it all. I have to work for you. No.
Write it down, okay?
No, I had to work for you. The kind of Kavorka I'm talking about is the one that attracts quality to quality. And that's what they do. And the best earliest memory I have of Jen is at the Easter brunch at our house in 2010. And it was raining that morning, so we couldn't do the traditional outdoor Easter egg hunt thing with kids. And so here's Jen trapped inside our house with 4 very loud and excited screaming toddlers. Our whole family, Michelle's family, and their dog. And what probably to Jen, it seemed like 3,000 hidden plastic Easter eggs in our house. It took so long for them to find. That were really well hidden, apparently. And yet, all I remember about Jen that day is that she was just so into it. It was so sweet. She was smiling and laughing, and she was delightful and delighted to be a part of it. And she bonded with my son, incidentally, that day by bringing a 2-liter bottle of Sprite. And so my son Andrew now knows her as Jen Sprite. Even though they now have the same last name. And then she also bonded with our daughter Zoe that day, because really, and this says a lot about Jen too. Zoe could have really taken or left Jen, whatever. Not that impressive. Jen loved that about her. It was so sweet to see them bond. And then, that experience at that Easter was how every interaction with Jen has been since that day. So, of course, as a scientist, I had to do an analysis of this and find out what that must mean, that she's like this. And so I came up with 3 things. One of these must be true. 1, she's an escaped mental patient who's doing a fairly good job of mainstreaming. Number 2, she can't stand us, but she loves Dave so much that she's willing to put up with us. That might be most likely. 3, she actually adores us and Dave, and is really looking forward to merging our families together. And to tell you the truth, I'm okay with any of those things. I don't because the point of all this is that Jen improves our family with her sweetness, her laughter, her own family joining ours, and really the effect that she's had on Dave. because to me, it's been amazing, really. I knew this day today was coming on the night of November 1st, 2010, when Dave, you didn't think you were not going to get this, brother. Okay. When Dave, myself, our mother, and my wife Michelle were all jumping up and down, screaming like maniacs because the Giants had just won the World Series. And Dave turned to us and really only partially falling down drunk, said, "You know what you're doing, John, right?" And we're like, oh. He's so nice. You know what, right? So it really was a night of miracles for two reasons. So I'm going to end this because we're going to spend an hour talking and it would be far too short a time to talk about such amazing people and how happy I am about all of this. I can't adequately express how happy I am, and so let's just all raise our glasses to toast these two amazing people. Today we can.
Fashion and design. These intros sound like a Wheel of Fortune intro, for Christ's sake. Would you please welcome Melody Downs, everybody? Let's hear it.
Yeah!
Thank you, Bob, for that welcome. Just for the record, I do remember that night. I'm not sure anyone else does, but it was a fantastic night. For those of you who don't know me, I am Jen's younger sister, and I live in New York City with my husband, Julian. And some of you know this, but when Jen and I first met, we didn't exactly hit it off. It was a little awkward at first. And there's probably a lot of younger siblings. Do we have younger siblings in the room? Yeah. I don't even have to proceed with this next bit because you guys, you already get it. You know what was going on in childhood. And probably your parents, like my parents, had no idea what was happening. And that's valid. And I would like to say that you are heard, and I know your stories are real and true.
There's the counselor coming out.
And healing is in store for you too. Claire Swindell.
Bullshit.
But one thing that's funny about younger siblings is no matter how much we are abused by our older siblings, we still want to be just like them.
Right, right.
It's true. It's like the dirty little secret of younger sisters and brothers everywhere. You can do whatever you're going to do to us, and we still will come crawling back. It's kind of pathetic, but my story with Jen was no different. And Claire Swindell also shared this as some other key figures in the room tonight. But an interesting thing happened in my relationship with Jen. I guess until about the age of 18, this abuse was going on. Sometimes it was verbal, sometimes it was physical. But after she left and went to college, and I went to college shortly after that, and an interesting thing happened. We became the best of friends. And not many people can say that they've had the opportunity to live as an adult with their sibling on and off for roughly about 10 years after college. I think initially we thought it was the coolest thing in the world, and we had visions of like an episode of Friends, living in various cities and having indisposable income and really great clothes. And it was like that for a little while. I mean, it was. And by the way, there is an alarmingly high number of people in this room that have lived with Jen Mingy. Yeah! I mean, there's probably 20 people who have lived with her. And you all know how this goes. It's amazing. You have a staff accountant, right? You wake up one morning, it's usually close to the end of the month, and there's a spreadsheet with your list of expenses. You also, some of you, do we have any Queens, New York people in the house? Yes. The Queens people, this was the later years of living with Jen. You also had a personal chef, a housekeeper, a party planner, an event coordinator. I mean, the benefits, I had no idea until we dissolved our roommate situation, how good we had it, living with Jen Mingy. And when she left the East Coast and moved to California, we were very happy for her. But you can also understand our disappointment and the loss that we experienced. And I know a lot of people, you know, last night we talked a lot about some of Jen's humorous moments, her generalisms, as we call them. And I have a couple of those to share too. But what a lot of you may not know about Jen is the things that we really missed about her. I mean, we did miss the housekeeping and the accountant on staff, but mostly we missed her kindness and her generosity. And for someone who blatantly abused me for so many years, she's also the person responsible for protecting me and taking care of me and bailing me out. Not literally, well, once literally, but it was only once. And technically I was a juvenile, so the record is sealed. But I've never seen truly such genuine kindness from someone and love. And we've missed her every second since she has been gone. Some of the things that we miss specifically, one day Jen, we came home and we were all living together in New York. And we came home and Jen said, "Oh, how was your day?" And we said, "Oh, it was great." And she said, "Oh, you're not gonna believe this. I discovered this great area in New York. And it's on 23rd Street. And there's this really historical building that's, it's kind of like a triangle." And I said, "Oh yeah, that sounds familiar." And she says, "Yes, it's called the Flatiron District." And I stepped back for a minute, and I took a moment, and I was like, "What's she talking about? Like, it sounds French." And I realized that she was, in fact, talking about the Flatiron building and district in New York. I think that's probably my favorite generalism, only rivaled by her acquiring the knowledge, I think it was a few months ago, that it was a year ago? All right, I'll give you credit. It was a year ago Jen discovered that the Beastie Boys were actually an all-white rock group. Just startling, but all that to say, when Jen left the East Coast and moved west, we missed every minute of being with her, not just for the silly things she would say, but mostly for her generosity towards us. And we were so thrilled when she met Dave. I was there the night that she met Dave. We had a cocktail party at her house. Dave came in and talked a lot about hiking. And I was still figuring out the West Coast people, and I'm like, hiking just means walking, right? And Jen was like, yeah, it does. And I was like, great, well, I can hike, you know. And then I started to really understand what you meant by hiking. But Jen and Dave met that night. And it was great because when they actually began their relationship, I had a reference point. So I knew who she was talking about. And I would just like to say that it's so fantastic that for someone who took care of all of us for so long, that she finally has someone to take care of her. And she has someone to take care of as well. And we couldn't be happier. Dave, we welcome you to our family with regret and apologies on some level, but mostly with love and open arms. And you always have a home on the East Coast, especially the Flatiron district. They would welcome you. And we're very excited for both of you. So I'd like everyone to raise their glass. And a toast to Jen and Dave. We love you. Congratulations.
Here's for Melanie. Come on, let's go.
Thank you, Bob. I do barely remember that night also, but it was great. I do remember the next morning when it wasn't so great. So thank you so much. What a great weekend this is and has been. We've thoroughly enjoyed ourselves. Meshing these two families together has been fantastic. We love them both, and we love the ceremony tonight. We thought that it was as cute as it could be. It was beautiful. What they wrote was so meaningful. We just sat there in awe of the whole thing. And, but I do want to tell you a few things, Jennifer and Dave. The meshing of the fabric and all that is true. It is. And I will tell you this, the fabric gets stretched once in a while. And sometimes when it gets stretched, it makes it stronger because it comes back together. Gay and I have been to a zillion weddings, of course, and over the years, and we sat down together. And the first 4, 5, 10 years, we kind of, giggled when they said, for better, for worse, for sickness and health. And we don't even say that anymore. We just kind of rub arms together because that's what it means so much. Those are the times when the fabric will get stretched. And when you get through those times, it's going to mean so much more when you come back together. You guys are both type A's, like A, but actually I'm an A minus. The more I listen to Buffett, I'm slipping into a B. But I have my wife to bring me back to the A part because she wants everything right and good. And I just want to slack away a little bit now, but I'm not going to. And sometimes we butt heads, but we work it out. And it's always forgiveness. It's usually her fault most of the time. That's the way it is. The second thing is, there's this old adage about never going to bed, with an argument without settling. That's a bunch of crap. Yeah! Let me tell you, what you really need to do is, you don't sleep. You kind of wonder and you catnap during the night and you think how wrong the other person was. By the time you wake up in the morning, you got the bubble brains because you didn't sleep. You also probably drank a little bit that night. That's what started the whole thing. And then you go to work all day and you come back and you're beat to death. I can't wait to say I'm sorry. I couldn't even try. I think that's very important. That's the last best advice I can tell you is, But I would like to raise a toast. Since I didn't bring my glass, I'm gonna borrow yours too. For Jennifer and Dave, and for a wonderful life.
laughing and a running, hey, hey, skipping and a jumping in the misty morning fog with our hearts a thumping and you, my brown-eyed girl.